been a way long time since you and I have seen each other. I've seen the band, and it's funny because whenever I see you guys these days, it's like either at the street or at some event or something like that, which I
Uh,
think is cool because that's the way you guys are. You're always about the people. It's not just about the music, but it's about the people. But last 2 years, man, we haven't been able to be together. How have you been holding up? How's the band been holding up throughout these last 2 years?
I mean, yeah, I'd be lying if I said it was an easy time. For I think for everybody, it was a challenging time to, like you said, to not see people, to not be rubbing shoulders with our community and people in the industry and friends and family, and that was the biggest challenge. But I will say I'm pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky that nobody got badly ill or anything, or God forbid, worse. And we managed to get a record out of it. So I can't complain, entirely. It was just it was rough being apart.
Wait a minute. You said you got a record together, which we're going to talk about this new album. Congratulations. But something else to there too, man. And I'm going to ask you straight out. Where do I get the beer?
Oh, we managed to design and manufacture our own beer with the help of Nickelbrook. So Nickelbrook, they're a Burlington-based brewery. They have a storefront in Etobicoke as well. And for now, you got to order it from their website, or you can like go into one of their stores, Etobicoke or Burlington, and pick some up. It's called Trews Wandering Pilsner. It's a pretty refreshing beer, I gotta say. I definitely stand behind it.
I just love the fact, man. I mean, think about this. It's almost like every Canadian's dream to have a beer named after you. And here you are, man. The band's got a beer. That's got to be exciting for you guys.
It is pretty cool. I mean, I've always said, like, as far as brand partnerships, I've been, me and beer have been endorsing one another for a really long time, unofficially. So it's something I can definitely get behind, especially having helped, sort of figure out how it's going to taste. And then I went down for the brew date and we chose hops and we poured it all in. So it was a really involved process. It was really fun to do. And it's something different for us. It's something, exciting for fans, I think, to get their hands on. So we're happy to be doing it.
Yeah, just be prepared, man, when the summer hits of summer signing a whole bunch of beer cans. So you know that's going to be happening. I don't want to say yet the name of the album, but we're going to do that in a moment. But you did talk about recording it during these last 2 years. I've talked to a lot of artists, and I've found the interest in how people have been able to do this. So I'm going to ask you, how did you guys record this album, knowing that at times you weren't allowed in studios, sometimes you're allowed in studios, but if you're allowed in studio, only one or two people were allowed in, then you were allowed, and it depended on what part of the country you were in because everything was always different. How did you guys do this?
Well, the record started out in Nashville in late 2019, and we went down to work with Rich Robinson, the guitar player, founding member of the Black Crows. Been a friend of his for about 15 or more years, and we've always wanted to collaborate in the studio. The stars finally aligned, and we got down in December of 2019. Wrote and recorded 3 songs everybody was very happy with, and we were making plans to go back in March, April, when the COVID curtain came down and all plans were blown out. So we were just sort of left in limbo because obviously we couldn't make any plans. Nobody knew what the future was going to hold. So slowly that plan to go back to the States kind of just faded away because the border stayed closed for like a year and a half. So we ended up making alternate arrangements to get together when we could in Canada. We did some sessions over Zoom with some producers and some co-writers that we trust and like, and we like slowly eked out some more material. I mean, the one silver lining is we had a little more time, which is something when you're making a record, you never have enough time. You're always against the deadline, trying to get it, delivered by a certain time, or trying to get it squeezed into this 1 week of recording that you have booked. So we did have the luxury of time, and we used that to write a bunch more songs. And a lot of the songs are like directly influenced by our experience during the pandemic, like "I Want to Play" and "Can't Afford to Be Lonely" and "Where Do You Go." Those are all pretty directly linked to experiences we had during the pandemic. And then we just managed to like eke out studio time when we could. As early as I think August of 2020 was the soonest we could get back into a studio that was open and that was kind of COVID safe or whatever. So we started recording in August, and that went really well. And then we booked another session in November. And then by November, the sort of story was changing again. It was getting risky again. And we just managed to get it done before things started closing down again. So yeah, it was anything but business as usual.
All right, let's get to it, man, officially. What is the name of the new album and how does it represent the band today? Because I'll tell you straight up, man, it is guitar driven, it is true rock.
Yeah, thanks, Rudy. It's called Wanderer, and that there's a song on the record called The Wanderer, and we just lost the just to be like a little more succinct about it. And I think we were like getting back to basics as far as what we do as a band. Civilianaires was a very in studio experimental record where we tried all kinds of in studio gimmicks and tricks, which was great for the time. Speaking of the man on your shirt there, Bowie, like he's a great inspiration because every record he goes in, he tries to tackle it in a different way, and in our own way, we kind of do the same. And Civilianaires was definitely an in studio creation. So we decided from the onset, even before COVID, that we were going to get back with the guitars on and stand in the live floor and just play together as a band with the amps on 10. So that was sort of the mindset going in, and we kind of kept that in mind the whole way. And as a result, it's a pretty guitar heavy rock record, kind of the root of what the band is about. Um, yeah, so that's what I can tell you about it. I mean, otherwise, people should just go give it a spin because hopefully the music speaks for itself.
I can't wait to hear it in a big stadium or something, man, because it's gonna blow speakers right out, man. You're gonna explode some stuff. Is there a single out right now? If so, what's the single called and what's that about?
Well, the first single came "I Want to Play" in March, which was like the song is specifically about you know kind of pandemic anxiety, like wanting to get out and be around people and play music and celebrate again. And so we put that out in March, thinking when we recorded it that by March it might be out of date or out of time, like because it wouldn't make any sense. But it turns out in March we were all still locked down, so the song sort of hit at a good time and it got lots of play and generated a lot of excitement. So that was the first sort of single off the thing. And then we put out a subsequent radio single called Permission, which is one of the ones we did with Rich down in Nashville. And then we kind of take this thing on the road starting next week, as early as next week. We're doing some Ontario dates, and then we have a tour on sale for next year. So, like you said, I mean, getting this material out in front of an audience, I think, is going to be the true test of it. And like, it's going to take it to a whole new level, I think.
I'm just curious, who decided on the album cover? Because it's definitely something different these days. Most people don't have, and I want you to describe it too, because most people don't take pictures like that anymore for an album cover. And plus, when you hear Wanderer and then you talk about the album cover, it's almost like two different things in some ways. And because I say that, because to me, the album cover is almost like Serenity kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think we were, manifesting adventure, wide open spaces, wide open skies. I mean, we all, I think, I can speak for myself, but also I think a lot of other people when I say it was a very claustrophobic time, like just being home all the time and, in the same environment over and over and over again. So it's kind of twofold. First of all, we have a song on the album called Lovelock, and it's about Lovelock, Nevada, and it got us thinking about desert and sort of those landscapes. And then we started looking through the photography of a friend of ours named Wyatt Clough, who did the photograph for Civilianaires. I love his photography, so I saw this image and immediately spoke to me. Probably for those reasons that like it's time to get out of the house and wander again, and just sort of see the world and adventure and do what we've always done. And so I feel like that was sort of the thinking behind it.
That makes absolute sense. You talked about the tour because you got some shows happening in 2021. You got shows happening that I saw in 2022 of next year. So lots going on with you guys. But in the meantime, though, there is the holiday season. Any plans for the holidays, man?
I'm gonna stay close to home. We've got family visiting. I've got parents I haven't seen since COVID, and they're gonna come in. I think people feel safe now to travel a little more with their boosters and everything else. So definitely gonna be spending some quality time with family. I have two small kids, and so that gives Christmas a whole boost of excitement. I haven't felt this way about it since I was a kid. So they're super stoked, and they're climbing the walls and bouncing off the ceiling. So it should be a very good family oriented holiday, and then next year we hit the road.
I think everybody's feeling that way. It's funny. Yesterday, for my mom, I put out the big snowman and the deer and everything out on the lawn and everything. Took me 4 hours to put it together, but it's lighting up and it's looking pretty good. So, and it makes me think about being a kid too and what Christmas was like for me and whatever. So I'm gonna ask you, man, what was your favorite Christmas gift growing up as a kid?
Oh man, uh, that I got or that I wanted to get.
that you got, okay, and what you wanted to get, because I know guys who wanted, like my age, guys wanted GI Joes and they got GI Jim or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I remember one year I wanted a Nintendo when Nintendo was like first coming out, and my I thought I had one. We snuck down early, me and my brother Colin, who's in the band with me. We snuck down in the morning, and I saw this box that kind of fit the description, and I was like, "Oh yes, I got a Nintendo." And went back to sleep for the mandatory hour or more while the parents tried to get a little more shut eye, and came down and tore it open, and it was a fish aquarium. It's not a bad gift, but it wasn't when you're expecting a Nintendo. It's not what you want, right?
Oh, oh man, you know what? I can say is I feel for you on that one, man. I could not imagine. And you got to show the smile too to the parents because they're doing their best. So.
Wow, fish. Yeah, I'll take care of them. I
Did
won't
you
be. I won't be gaming this year.
did you ever get the Nintendo?
Years later,
Years
yeah, my
later.
parents were slow adopters. They were one of those. They were suspicious parents, like, "Oh, is this gonna rock their minds?" That kind of thing.
You know what, man? I still have mine. So
Good, good.
yeah, I refuse to get rid of it. And the last question too, because we are going into a new year. You know as well as I do, man. A lot of people in 2019 were like, I got to get out of this year. Let's get to 2020. And we got to 2020. 2020 was rougher than 2019. And then we got to 2021, and everybody's like, we got to get there. And we got to 2021. The waves are still kicking, and people are already going, 2022, yeah. What advice can you give folks out there, man? Because a lot of people think when the ball drops, the world changes. But
Yeah,
if you look
we
back
all
in the
had
last 3 years,
we had really high hopes. We even recorded a cover by the Who called 1921 because the chorus says, "Got a feeling 21 is going to be a good year." We were just trying to manifest this better energy for the next year. It wasn't necessarily meant to be. I just hope for steady, gradual improvement. I hope that the more we figure out about this virus and how it spreads, and hopefully we can figure out how to mitigate it without inhibiting our, you know, movements and things too much. Because I don't know how much more cancellations and stuff I could take. So hopefully we just it keeps gradually improving and we can get on with our lives in a way that's healthy and safe for everybody. That's my wish. God willing, it'll happen.
amen to that. Look, man, say hello to your brother, to me, the rest of the band. Congratulations on putting this new album for us because we need to rock it out there, man. People need to come together and have a good time. This is an album that's going to do it for us. And I'm crossing fingers, man. I'm going to see you guys in person in 2022, whether it be a show, interview, either way. Junos, who knows, man? A lot of stuff is going to be open for 2022. Thanks again for the interview.
Thank you, Rudy. Great to see you again.